Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to this council meeting on Wednesday, the 2nd of June. And we're doing it by Zoom today. And the reason we are doing it by Zoom is because our council chamber is full of the Emergency Operating Centre people who are doing an amazing job on getting us through this civil defence emergency we are in at the moment. So, yeah, we're getting lots of good comments coming in. There's some people working really, really hard. They're doing long hours over there, working 24/7. That centre is running, and 12-hour shifts. So they are really doing very, very well to get us through where we are today. So I'm going to call for apologies, and I have one from Angus Mackay, Councillor Mackay, and he's out on with the Rural Support Trust doing a welfare run, visiting farmers up in the Green Street area. So everyone's being visited up there at the moment because they were the hardest hit, and they'll be visited in the next 1 or 2 days to get around them all. There's a couple of hundred to visit, and Angus has offered to go with it and support as an ex-farmer. That's what we want, people who can know about farming when they're talking to these people, rather than someone from the city who may not know everything about it. So have skills in different areas, so combining it will be really good. I'll call for apologies. I don't have one from Councillor Brown, but so I'll just take the apology from Angus. Councillor Mackay, could I move in a second? Liz and Carolyn, all in favour, please say aye.
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 Passed. Extraordinary business. Anyone got an extraordinary business? I know of none. We've got some additional papers for the open spaces bylaw, and they're on page 60. They'll add in at page 60, so we have them. Item number 3, declarations of interest on today's agenda. Nothing there for anybody. With confirmation of the council's minutes on page 3. Let's go for alterations or additions first. Corrections on page 4. Page 5. Oh, Diane, you've got your hand. Oh, no, you haven't. It's my mouse. Sorry. Where my mouse was sitting, its little hand was sitting over you. It's been corrected. And page 6. Someone like to move?
Okay.
Diane and Liz, all in favour, please say aye or raise your hand. Thank you. Item number 5, receipt of the minutes of the Audit and Risk Committee. Someone like to move that we receive the minutes there? Rod, John and Stuart. Stuart, you've got your hand up.
No, I was just going to second it.
Good. I'll put the motion. All in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Pass. Carried. Who was it? Come on, so item number 6, Youth Council minutes. They've been attached. We also got the attachment from the Selwyn Youth Council. Should we have a motion that we receive those minutes?
Well,
Lynette.
No.
Lynette, Stuart. I'll put the motion that we receive those minutes. All in favour, please say aye.
aye.
Carried. Nothing to discuss in those minutes?
No.
The Selwyn Youth Council work plan is just for our information?
Yeah.
Great. So move on to reports. And on page 10, we have the dog control bylaw and policy. And the author of this is Mel. Mel, you there somewhere?
Yep, I'm here. There's nothing further to add for that one.
Thank you. Councillors, any discussion, any questions of Mel? Caroline?
Thanks for the report, Mel. I note that the northeast out at the industrial estate, the northeast industrial estate, it's got there, part of it isn't serviceable with dog park because of all the comings and goings. So you've allocated a spot that you're going to designate as a dog park up there, is that right?
Yep, that's correct.
Diane?
I would just like to say I'm really pleased to see that reaction after we had those people come in with their petition, and we've actually listened and taken some notice of what they said. So to have a place where the dogs can run free, I think is a good move.
Yeah, we've listened at the moment, but this policy is going out to consultation as well. So there'll be another round of consultation on it. Lynette?
I was just going to ask about the word plastic bags mentioned in it, with trying to move away from plastic bags. That wording, could that sort of be a little bit better? And the other comment I want to make is, do we include retire in here as well? Because we're proposing a dog park out there, and now is the time to put that in there. And the other comment I would like to make is Ashton Beach. There is a bird breeding season. Do the dogs have to be banned for a whole year along that front? And to me, it extends too far down on the south side, whether the dogs could have a bit of access there to the sea.
Mel, have you got a comment there?
Yep. So in regards to the plastic bags, the wording that we've used is that people must carry plastic bags or other effective means to remove fouling, so that covers not just plastic bags. In terms of the required dog park, I would probably add that in the next time we review this. And then in terms of Ashton Beach, we've added that in as a prohibited area because the presence of dogs, it doesn't only affect the breeding, it also affects other behaviours for the birds, such as feeding and things like that. I hope that answers your questions.
I was just asking about the length you've got it. It's fair enough in the river mouth area, but it extends along the bank, the high bank on the south end, and the public need to have a bit of space for the dogs because they like to take them down on the beach. Whether the south end could be brought up a little bit further.
Yeah, Jane, we'll go to you, Jane.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. We put that in at the request of Bert Hoffman's so that it aligned with an Ecan conservation zone. That's why those lines are where they are.
Okay.
So the two line up, is that the reason?
Yeah, they do, except that the Ecan one also goes higher up the river. We didn't do that because we thought that we couldn't really imagine the contractors leaving their vehicles and tramping up the river to see if there were any dogs there. So we've kept it down at the beach end, not made it as far back up the river.
Thank you. Any other questions or put the motion? Caroline.
I've got a quick. Did you say me or are you going to put the motion?
Yes. No, I'm going to go to you. Yeah.
Just as this is not my question. I'm raising my hand. Is that the best way to ask questions in the meeting?
Correct. Yep.
Okay. Thank you. Dog tags. Current registration tags on dogs that are not on any land other than their own. Do our inspectors have a right to issue tickets as a result of that, Jane, or is there any sequelae from that, or what happens?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, yes, they do have the power to issue infringement notices under the Dog Control Act. And
a supplementary question?
Yep.
And as a result of that, then do we document that and then we can chase that up to make sure that that dog was registered? Like that might deal with our non-dog registration concerns in part.
Sorry, I think I was muted. Yes, sorry, Carolyn, we do follow all of those up.
Oh.
Any further questions? If there's not, would someone like to move that we're I'm in favour. Next one is item number 8, the elderly persons housing policy, which is on page
52.
dog control.
Mr. Mayor, if I may, just while you're getting the agenda page, could I ask all participants to go on mute? And then when obviously you're speaking, you need to unmute, because it's just a little bit of scraping and rustling background noises that just make it a little bit hard here in the office to go through with the meeting. So if you'd be kind enough to do that, that would be really helpful. Thank you.
Great, thanks for that, Hamish. Item number 8 on page 52, elderly person housing policy, and the recommendation there that we adopt the policy because it's already consulted on in the long-term plan information that went out. Is there any, Mel is the author, any further questions of Mel? Stuart, I'll put, if you go on unmute, Stuart.
There we are. Yeah, I see an interesting part. I don't know whether, didn't think we had it in before. I think it's section 2. If your circumstances change, you have to let us know. Because I'm sure that's different what it used to be. Because I asked in the past, if somebody wins lotto and gets $1 million, and we've said, no, you're allowed to stay. But it says there, if your circumstances change, you have to notify us. Does that mean if you did win $1 million, we would expect you to move out?
What item number is that on, Stuart, so we could go to it? What number?
I haven't got my agenda in front of me because I'm just using the screen for.
It's 2.1.
Yeah, I thought it was section 2. Yes, 2.1.
Yeah. Good, thank you. Mel, have you got an answer for that?
Reading it, I would presume that is what it means, but that clause was in there when we went out for consultation on the policy.
Yes.
Did you have some feedback, haven't you? Yeah. Yep. I've just got one question, Mel, and it's on 1.2 in the policy statement. It talks about, 1.1.6. The people need to be compatible with other EPH residents in the opinion of the council officer. That is one person. I'm wondering whether it shouldn't be officers, as in 2 people, so you get a balanced view of the applicant rather than just one. Just a thought. Hamish, you got your hand up.
Yes, I was just, Mr. Mayor, talking about Councillor Wilson's point around 2.1. All we're asking them to do is notify council. So that doesn't necessarily mean that they would be expected to move to something else. There may be circumstances around them being in that place for a long time and it's their home, etc., where regardless of their circumstances changing, they may well stay there. So it's simply the requirement is to let us know, and then the decision as to what happens next will unfold from that notification.
Thank you for that. Mel, did you have a comment or someone about the one council officer making a decision on the criteria eligibility where perhaps it should be more than one? Hamish?
I think Paul wants to say something.
Paul, okay. Paul?
Yeah, hi Neil. In reality, it's never one officer that actually makes that decision. It's discussed amongst 2 or 3 of them. So I don't have a problem if you want to make it officers, but it's never usually one officer that makes that call on their own.
Okay, that makes good sense. So it's in 2 places. One's 1.1.6 and the other 1.2, which just talks officer. Caroline? You're on mute. You have to unmute, Caroline.
Thanks, Neil. Was that in the original policy, Paul, or is that a new addition as a result of the consultation?
Paul? Or Mel? Paul's coming on.
So, Mr. Mayor, that might have to be Mel that makes that comment. I can't recall whether it was or not.
Mel?
I'm quite sure that was already in there.
Because I don't know that I necessarily like that without some rigour around it. I think having more than one, as you alluded to, is okay, but it's still a bit unusual in my opinion. I mean, you could say if you've got a criminal record, you can't go there, or if you've got or if you're not suitable, you can't go there. But I think just a non-compatible is a bit of a general statement.
We do just need the discretion to manage elderly persons housing, and if councils have a mind to add an S to officer to imply or to instruct more than just one, as Paul says, that's perfectly fine, but the mechanism to manage these units in total is still absolutely required.
So happy with just adding the S on?
Yes, on the basis of Paul's comments, absolutely.
Yep. No further questions? Okay, so someone like to move the recommendation that council adopts the elderly persons housing policy 2021 to take effect from 2nd June 2021. Stuart and Lynette. Any further discussion?
Can I just say that you will add the S on to officer as officers?
Yes, we will. Yep.
Yeah.
Caroline?
Yeah, okay, that's fine. I don't agree with it. But as long as the people are also advised as to the reasoning, the rationale for that decision. I mean, people don't, often it's not the first choice for people to go to the elderly person's housing, and they may not have many options available. So it needs to be seen to be fair, and they have a right to discuss it. And the other point is, when we had the long-term plan, I actually haven't got it in front of me, I'll just put it away, but I can't remember. There was a whole breadth of people wanting different, like 2 years, 3 years, status quo, 7 years and things. Do we have a breakdown of that handy or not?
It wasn't on the policy, that was on how we were funding
Yeah.
the dollars around funding it. This is the policy on who is eligible and what they need to bring with them, and that.
Oh, okay. Because when I read it in here, not in the policy, but in the document further up, it's got something in there. There is something about them. I just can't see it now. Typically, there's a table, wasn't it, about what the new rates are going to be?
Yes, it is, and obviously it was on the policy, but there were shortfalls there for the first 3 years, I think, and then in the long-term plan on the financial side, that was to see how that was going to be. The shortfall was going to be made up until they become self-funding.
Okay, thank you, Neil. Thank you.
Yeah. No further questions, discussion. I'll put the motion. I'm in favour. Everyone in favour, please raise their hand. Against? Carried. Thank you. Item number 9, the open spaces bylaw. And Mel again. We've got a recommendation that we adopt the draft open spaces bylaw for public consultation, and the council adopts the open spaces bylaw consultation document. Any questions of Mel first? Stuart, John?
Yeah, on the background information there, paragraph 4, second bullet point, I presume that says open spaces to include that offer restricted access. It's got to include areas that offer restricted access.
Yep, that's just a typo.
And just remember, there's an additional paper that is with this policy here as well, which had one extra, some more wording in 18.1. Stuart,
yeah, that has to do with the legal part of it.
That's right. Stuart, did you have your hand up before?
Yes, it's pretty harsh. I mean, you read it through, boy, oh boy, are we got some regulations. You're hardly allowed to blow your nose on reserved land by the look of that. And if you get caught, you're a bit like Mr. Stalin, you're going to just about chop their head off. It's 20,000 for, I don't know, I guess you got to have regulations, but by gosh, it's tight.
Yeah, that may raise some submissions to come in that it's too tight, because it's going out for consultation. I just have one question, and it's around freedom camping, and it talks about, on item number 7, the last sentence, this restriction covers reserves and parks, but does not cover road reserves. Why wouldn't you cover the road reserves as well? Hamish, your hand up.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor, I was responding to the previous discussion around the Councillor Wilson's point around the $20,000 fine. That's in the Local Government Act. So if you see clause 18.5, it's the legislation that refers to the maximum fine of $20,000. So it's not as a result of this council putting in a harsh bylaw. That's just referring to the maximum fine specified by the law. I'm sorry, I haven't got a view on road reserve. Sorry, Neil.
Okay. Mel, do you have a view on road reserves? Why we don't include them, or should we, or the reason why we don't?
So, through the chair, that is due to the definition of open spaces in the bylaw, which is an area of land or water owned or managed by Ashburton District Council for the public for the use of amenity, recreation or enjoyment, which includes parks, reserves, public gardens, etc.
So if you camped on a road reserve, then these rules wouldn't apply to you. Jane? Jane, are you on?
Sorry, I was still muted. Yes, that's correct, Mr. Mayor. The rules wouldn't apply if you were parked on road reserve. The Bill of Rights doesn't allow councils to actually prohibit freedom camping everywhere. I think the intention here is that there are road reserves around where it might be perfectly okay for a self-contained vehicle to camp overnight. I'm not sure whether it's a good idea to try and ban it from all road reserves. I mean, it might be late at night and somebody might pull over and quite safely stay there, whereas what this bylaw is trying to do is just make sure that we don't have freedom camping in our reserves.
Great. And just on the freedom camping thing, you're not proposing to have a freedom camping bylaw and unless the council wants one, but you don't think it's necessary at this stage?
I don't think it is necessary at this stage, Mr. Mayor. We really don't have the problems that some other districts in New Zealand have. Having said that, we did just lodge a submission on proposed changes that the government is looking at, and I think they are going to be tightening up on freedom camping generally.
So that'll flow through to us at some stage if they do?
Yes, absolutely.
Yep. Any further questions, or should we go to the recommendation?
If I could just add something else, sorry. Yes. It was mentioned in the memo that was sent around this morning. After the agenda preparation, we received some feedback from James Lamb regarding possible updates to section 15, which relates to drones and aircrafts in the domain and the vicinity of the hospital helipad. So we've drafted some changes, but due to the civil defence emergency, we haven't been able to discuss those with James. So we're proposing to go out for consultation with the current draft, which will give us the 4 weeks over the consultation period to review the changes with James and seek legal advice. So officers will bring back further advice on those changes before council adopts the bylaw following consultation.
Okay, thank you. Liz?
Thank you. You've got number 12, misbehaviour. Is there anything, I see you've got smoking and vaping and use of obscene language, but what about rubbish and sorry, I'm distracted by the sirens going outside. Rubbish in a sort of open space area. Is there anything under that, or does that come under a different bylaw?
Mel?
Through the chair, sorry. That comes under section 8. There's clause 8.1.3. It says no person may leave any litter within the limits of any open space other than in the receptacles provided therefore.
Liz, happy with that? Just put your hand up.
Yeah, thank you. I'll put my hand down. Hang on.
Any further questions, or should we go to the motion? So I'd like to move. Liz? Seconder? Caroline? That's the draft open spaces bylaws going out for public consultation. There's a timeline there attached. I'll put the motion. I'm in favour. All those in favour, please say aye. Against? Carried. Thank you. Next item must be number 10 and page 81, and the adoption of the PBE IP SAS 41 financial instruments. It sounds really exciting. Who's it? Rachel, is it? Or who we have on? Or Hayley? Who's taking questions? Rachel? No, sorry. Hayley's the author of this one. Any questions, councillors? John?
Yeah, basically, I mean, this has been set up by a group of high-class accountants who sit in white ivory towers, couldn't have any idea what the practical effect of what they're doing is, but unfortunately we have to live with these standards. The question I have is, does it only relate to loans and receivables, which are now going to be called amortised assets?
The only financial assets that we will need to change is the loans and receivables.
Right. So, okay, I could get into a big debate, but I won't. But certainly I agree with the recommendation. We are bringing it in at the beginning of our LTP, which to me makes it a lot of sense. If we don't bring it in this time, we're likely to come under the effect of the auditors next year saying you should have brought it in last year at the beginning of your LTP. So we might as well be proactive and on the front foot.
Caroline?
Oh, thank you. Am I muted or not muted?
No, you're not. No.
Oh, great. What does it actually, in reality, in practical terms, what does it actually mean for you, for us?
Who would like to answer?
If we adopt these changes?
Basically, it means nothing at all. All it's doing is changing the names on the balance sheet.
Thank you, John. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Hayley, you agree with that comment of John's? Or agree, or there's no other further comment to Caroline's question? Or does that cover it?
That covers it.
Great. So I'd like to move the recommendation if there's no more questions. John, Caroline, any further debate? If not, I'll put the motion. I'm in favour. All those in favour, please say aye. Against? Carried. Thank you. Item number 11. Oh, Hamish?
I just noticed Councillor Mackay has joined the meeting. We might want to note that.
Oh, okay. Angus, welcome to the meeting. And we see Angus there, which is great. Item number 11, Creative Communities Grants Assessment Round 2 for 2021. And we have the grants that have been decided by that external committee. If there's no questions, we'll move to a mover. The council receives the minutes of the Creative Community Fund Assessment Committee meeting held on the 29th of April 2021. So I'd like to move. Liz, Lynette, all in favour, please say aye. Oh, sorry, Diane. Oh, Diane, do you have a question? Diane?
Sorry, no, I was just going to second it.
Okay, great. Moved and seconded. I'll put the motion. I'm in favour. All in favour, please say aye. Against? Carried. Thank you. Next item, number 12, is the Mayor's report. Any questions of the Mayor's report? Liz.
Thank you. Do we need to move that recommendation? Oh, that's received the minutes. Oh, I'm tired, aren't I? Right, I just, no questions on the Mayor's report, but just a big thank you to you, Neil, for doing an excellent job fronting our community, and I saw firsthand you getting interviewed by TV1 today on the bridge. Took a couple of photos for your scrapbook, and how calm and well you deliver the message across to everyone in the community, and the feedback I've been getting is just how well the communication's going so far, and just a big thank you from us all really, and also to Hamish for just doing a great job in communicating. So thank you.
Thank you, Liz, and you're making me blush. But it's not a one-man band there at all. There's possibly 100-man band over there, or sorry, person band over there at the moment. Everyone's they're doing their wee bit, and it's absolutely fabulous to get us through this this event we're in at the moment. If there's no questions, can I? I'll move the mayor's that the council receives the mayor's report. And second it, Liz. All those in favour, please say aye. Carried. Over the page, the council reports, and we have one there from Councillor Lovett on the Canterbury Biodiversity Champion 2021. Anything further to add, Lynette, or not?
No, it's just a questionnaire we were asked to try and get filled out, and I'm going to take it to our biodiversity group, but if any councillors have got any comments or want to help fill this in, they're most welcome to give me their feedback, and I can take it on through to the next level.
Thank you. Any questions of Lynette? If not, would someone like to move that council receives the report and refers the Canterbury Biodiversity Strategy Group's advocacy questions to the Biodiversity Advisory Group for response? Caroline and Lynette, second. Any further discussion or debate? Diane?
No,
you're fine. I'll put the motion. All in favour, please say aye. Against? Carried. Thank you. Item 13.2, the Deputy Mayor's report. Any questions of the Deputy Mayor? Liz, would you just like to tell us a little bit about the refugee, when you went up to Auckland to the refugee resettlement farewell ceremony? What was that like?
Yeah, well, thank you. So Councillor Cameron and I, along with some of the Safe Mid-Canterbury staff and Janice Mackay from Welcoming Communities, went up to Mangere, to the centre, and got a really warm welcome up there. So we had a bit of a look around, saw this, didn't go in anywhere, but looked at the schools and could see where they were living. And then we went to the ceremony that they have, and so they had 3 people from each of the different countries come up and sort of give a bit of a talk, said thank you. We had some of the wee kids from the school singing a couple of songs that they'd just learned in English, and then of course we met our family that was coming together. So it was a very wonderful, it was a wonderful day. I think Councillor Cameron will agree it was a long day, but it was a wonderful day, and our refugee family arrived down in Ashburton the next day. I was worried sick about them because of course, being here for a night, and the next thing the rain started, but apparently they're safe and well, and there's more families arriving in the next month or so.
Yeah, thanks for that. And I know you were worried about them because you mentioned them if they were to be evacuated, because they were in that evacuation area, and you were keeping an eye out for them, which was good. And they seem like a lovely family, you're saying.
And there's some great volunteers who are helping them be made welcome. So it's really good to see.
Yeah, Angus.
I'm sorry, I'm just trying to learn how to rework my system, Mr. Mayor and councillors. Just a couple of things were supposed to be the item before. I'll catch up now, if that's all right. Was it recorded where I was supposed to be at the big start of the meeting?
Yes, it was, yeah.
Good, thank you. And will we have a debrief sometime on this emergency in a workshop mode?
Hamish?
Oh yes, we certainly will, both from a very operational perspective and lessons learned, and from a political perspective. A debrief will be really useful. We're not quite at that point. We still feel like we're in the middle of it, but at an appropriate time, I think a debrief will be really valuable, and we'd appreciate feedback from councillors as to their impressions of what went well and what we could have done better.
Okay. I'll make a recommendation then for the Deputy Mayor's report.
Okay, Angus, seconder. Seconder, Caroline? Yep. No further discussion. I'll put the motion. I'm in favour. All in favour, please say aye. Against? Carried. Thank you. Angus, you're still got your hand up. Item number 14, the Economic Development Quarterly Report. And there's a recommendation there that Council receives the Economic Development Quarterly Report up. We have Richard. Do we have Richard in here? I haven't seen.
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. There we are. Thanks, Richard. Any questions for Richard on the report? Lynette.
I was just going to ask Richard, going forward at the moment, will he be involved with Federated Farmers and looking at the needs of the farming community? Is that part of his role to see what we can activate here and get clean-up parties in that, or is that, where does that kind of fall?
Yeah, I think it probably falls in Hamish's domain there, Lynette, and Hamish.
Yeah, thank you. A couple of points, Mr. Mayor. Certainly the immediate aftermath of the emergency is more with the EOC personnel, and there's currently work going on with our welfare teams, the rural support, MPI, and those sort of things, rather than directly in Richard's area. Richard, however, is involved in our economic development team, which is thinking about recovery from the event and how, in a broader sense, our economic development response might be targeted. So he will be involved, but he's not responsible for that kind of immediate contact with the rural community. Just while I'm speaking to that answer too, and I'm sure Steve would have done this, but I see Simon Worthington's face has emerged out of the ether, and for councillors' benefit, Simon is our new Economic Development Manager. He started with us on Monday, so Liz, like the refugee family, he began unable to join his new work colleagues, but I know he's been connected with Richard and through Steve's team to the ongoing issues. So Simon has now started and is joining us on this Zoom call, and you can see his cheerful face as you get to know him over the next few weeks and months. Welcome, Simon.
Thanks, Hamish.
Yeah, welcome, Simon, on behalf of the councillors. I see your face there now, so that is, yeah, welcome. And we no doubt we'll have some contact in the next wee while when we get back to more normal.
Yeah, absolutely.
Any questions of either, possibly not Simon just yet, but of the report? Richard, I might just ask one question on the Infometrics report. Our GDP for the district is $2.4 billion, I think, in the last report. In this report for the last quarter.
Yes. Yep.
And if I look further over the pages, dairying makes up 1.2 billion of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So just stressing how important the dairy industry is to Mid-Canterbury. It is half our GDP.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah. I was reading it correct, which is a good figure. Any other questions of Richard? If not, can I have someone recommend that we receive the Economic Development Quarterly Update? Diane and John? Any further discussion? Diane, you got a question? Your hand is up. I'll put the motion. I'm in favour. All those in favour, please say aye. Against? Carried. Thank you, Richard and Simon.
Thank you.
And that takes us to the end of the open part of the meeting. So thank you for the media and the people at home who are listening in. Ruben, if you'd like to let me know when we are ready to start again. Does anyone need a break?